Hello everyone. Excuse me, it's Wednesday night. Time for another Facebook Live. Trying to make sure I get out of the shadows here. So tonight I'm going to show you how I made this card. This is using the Parisian Blossoms suite. So I was going to show you in the catalog. This suite has actually 2 bundles in it. So 2 stamp sets and dies. Some beautiful paper I'll show you here in a minute. The ribbon. An embossing folder that we're going to use. It's just an absolutely gorgeous suite. There's the floral Forever Blossoms and the dies that go with it. And then tonight we're using this set, which is the Parisian Beauty. It has dies that go with it too. And the paper is absolutely gorgeous. And it's got some champagne foil on it. So let me just kind of fan these out so you can see. These first 4 have that foil. You can see it. Let me just fan it out a little bit. And then these last 2 don't have any. So that's one side. And then the other side does not have foil. And it's got petal pink and mint macaron. And I don't have the thing over here to tell you everything. Might be, I don't remember if that's cherry cobbler or what that is, but it'll tell you on the back of your designer series paper set. And then the stamp set, which you saw, is this Parisian Beauty. And then there are dies that go with it. So there's a beautiful Eiffel Tower intricate that you can die cut. You can cut out the stamped one. There's the word amour. There's merci. This cuts out the fleur-de-lis, and then this is just like a little, I don't know, curly-Q little accent. So really nice, a really nice set, a really nice bundle. And right now, if you order both of them, then you save 10%. If you order both of the stamps and the dies, you save 10%. And then the other thing, which I really love, and I've used on lots of different cards, is this Parisian Flourish embossing folder. Just beautiful. All right, so let's get started. Let's get our stamping done first. So I have a scrap of Whisper White, and I'm going to stamp my Eiffel Tower in early espresso. Trying to make sure I stay in the frame here. Trying not to shake the table too much. All right, and we'll just stamp him down here. There we go. All right, that's all of the early espresso we're going to use. I'm going to set that aside for a minute. We'll die cut him in a minute. And then the other stamping that we're going to do is this sentiment, which I did. I used the white embossing powder and embossed it. So I've got just a strip of early espresso and my Versamark ink pad. Before I do that, it's always a good idea to use your embossing buddy. It's just got some kind of powder in it, and if you just rub it across your cardstock first, then that will take any of the oils or the static that's on there, and you won't have embossing powder sticking where you don't want it. And this is a little bit bigger than I need, so if I don't get it exactly straight, that's okay. I can trim it down. All right, so you can't see that, but it is stamped with the Versamark. I don't even know if no, not really. So now I'm going to take my white embossing powder, and I just have it in this container because that helps keep it contained. And I have a little spoon, and so I'm just going to put my embossing powder on there. I must have touched it over here. And you can always, if you have some like that, you can always, I don't have a paintbrush with me, but if you had a little paintbrush, you could get those little stray pieces off. Now you want to be sure you don't touch where you've stamped, because then you'll knock off that powder. All right. So if you haven't seen this before, this is like magic. It's going to get noisy here for a minute, but I've got our heat tool, and it has two settings. So the first setting, the lower setting, is if you're just trying to dry something, like you've done some watercoloring and you just need to dry it, use that. The second setting, the higher one, is for heat embossing. So let's see if I can hold this so you can see. I don't know if you'll be able to see it change, but it'll start melting. You can kind of see it maybe. See how it's shiny now? I'll make sure I got it down here good enough. So you want to make sure it's all shiny. That looks good. And it doesn't take but just a few seconds before you can touch it. You don't want to do it immediately after you do it because it's still a little tacky, but now it's fine. It's all embossed and you can kind of see it's shiny. All right. And then the other, we're going to do some more embossing, but this is a different kind of embossing. Whoops. So I'm going to take the Parisian Flourish embossing folder. Oh, and I got the wrong plates. Hang on 1 minute. With these new 3D ones, you need a different plate. All right. Get my big shot. All right, so I'm going to put my, and I love how they've added, if you can see these lines down here. So you can line up your paper and make sure it's straight. If it's something that you want to be sure is straight, you can line that up. So I've got just my regular platform is going to go on the bottom. Then this embossing folder, and then this new plate that is made for the new 3D embossing folders. And I'm sorry, this is probably going to shake the camera. There we go. All right, now we'll get this out of the way. And so now I have this beautiful embossed image. Isn't that gorgeous? I just love that. All right. Oh, that's why I had the other plates, because we need to die cut our Eiffel Tower. So for this, I'm going to use the outline Eiffel Tower. And this will use our normal sandwich. Let me grab the big shot again. So for this one, we'll have our magnetic plate. One of the, you can see these are well used. I need to go ahead and get some more. And then we'll put this down, line it up, and it's big enough it shouldn't jump on me too much, I don't think. And then our other plate on top. Run it through, shake the camera again. Now we're done with the big shot. All right. I'm going to put this back away before I lose it. Certainly don't want to lose that. Okay. Now we're ready to put everything together. So now we have our Eiffel Tower and all of our pieces. I've cut 3 pieces of the Designer Series paper. And so this one is actually the same paper, just both sides of it. And I'm just, before I put them on, I think I'm going to put forgot my bone folder. So when it's embossed like this, sometimes it's hard to get it to stick. So I like to use my liquid glue, and that will help it stick, because there's all these little indentions. And we're just going to put this on our front. And it's just cut a little bit smaller so you have that little border around it. And now I'll go ahead and lay these out first. They're kind of not straight, which is nice because then you don't have to worry about, whoops, let's make the fleur-de-lis go the right way. You don't have to worry about them being exactly straight. And again, because I'm putting this on an embossed piece of paper, I'll use my Tombow liquid glue. This I hate to cover up that pretty foil, but I needed just more of the monochromatic on this one. And I forgot to tell you, but this card I actually copied from the catalog. So when we first got this catalog, there were several of us that said we would do a swap and copy something from the catalog, and so this was the one that I copied. All right, so now I have my Eiffel Tower, and I'm going to use dimensionals. Let me just make sure I stay in the frame for you, to put him on. And I've got some of the mini dimensionals too, so I can put some on the, whoops. There we go. All right. I'll put this on, so he's going to go over our, looks like I may need to re-ink my early espresso ink pad, doesn't it? All right, and then before I put the sentiment on, I'm going to use some of this ribbon. This is the Petal Pink Metallic Edged, and it's edged in champagne metallic. This is beautiful ribbon. So I'm just going to tie a bow. And I don't know why, but it's always easier for me to do this while it's still on the spool. And another reason you want to do that is then you don't waste any ribbon. Because now I can just cut exactly what I need over here. All right. And then I'm just going to take, get that out of the way, a glue dot and just stick it right here on the side of my Eiffel Tower. So anytime you're putting ribbon on like this, glue dots work great. And you always want to put whatever you're going to adhere onto the glue dot and then pick it up, and that just makes it easier. So we'll put this right here along the side. And now we're ready. I'm going to trim this up just a little bit because I want it to be pretty close. And I'm just going to do it with my scissors. You could get your trimmer out if you wanted to, but this is just as easy for something small like this. There we go. Now I wanted it to sit up above the ribbon, so I put dimensionals on the Eiffel Tower just because that was easier than trying to figure out where on here to put it. So I put a couple of mini dimensionals on the Eiffel Tower. And then you're going to want to put, so that's going to sit like that. You're going to want to put two, you want to double stack the dimensionals there because your Eiffel Tower is already up on a dimensional too. So you put one down, take off the thing, and then put another one down. And that way it'll, if you can get your fingernail out of there, then it will stick up higher. And so now we're ready to take off the tops of these dimensionals, and that will sit on there, and now it will all sit up at the same level. And there you go. So this is the one I made before for the swap, and this is the one we made tonight. And I just love this. This whole suite is just gorgeous. All right. Thanks for joining me. Bye.